In the heart of the city, 5 families rose from the ashes, each carving out their own piece of the Big Apple. First off, we got the Bonanno family, led by the sharp-minded Joseph Bonanno. They were the kings of racketeering, making a killing off the labor and construction industries. The Bonanno family was one of the most secretive mafia families in New York City. It was known for its internal power struggles and its involvement in the infamous 1960s exile of Salvatore Bonanno. Joseph Massino took over the family in 1991 and led it to a period of unprecedented cooperation with law enforcement. He eventually became a turncoat and testified against other members of the family, leading to numerous convictions. Then came the Gambino family, with the ruthless Carlo Gambino at the helm. They ran the show in illegal gambling and loan sharking, making them a force to be reckoned with. The Gambino family was one of the most powerful mafia families in New York City. It was founded in the 1920s by Salvatore Maranzano, who was assassinated in 1931 by Vito Genovese. Carlo Gambino took over the family in 1957 and led it to even greater prominence. John Gotti, who became boss in 1985, was one of the most notorious mafia figures in history. He was known for his flamboyant lifestyle and his willingness to use violence to enforce his power. Gotti was eventually convicted of racketeering and murder and sentenced to life in prison. Third in line, we got the Genovese family. Under the leadership of Frank Costello, their influence spread far and wide, mastering the art of political corruption and infiltrating the unions. The Genovese family was one of the oldest and most powerful mafia families in New York City. It was founded in the 1930s by Lucky Luciano, who also organized the infamous Castellamarese War, which resulted in the deaths of hundreds of mobsters. Vito Genovese took over the family in 1957 and led it to even greater prominence. He was known for his ruthlessness and his involvement in organized crime around the world. The Colombo family, led by the charismatic Joseph Colombo, was fourth. They had their fingers in various pies, from loan sharking to hijacking and narcotics trafficking. The Colombo family was one of the most volatile mafia families in New York City. It was plagued by internal conflicts and power struggles. Joseph Colombo took over the family in 1963 and led it to a period of relative stability. However, he was shot and paralyzed in 1971, which led to further instability in the family. Last, but certainly not least, was the Lucchese family. Under Tommy Lucchese's rule, they dominated the garment industry and waste management business, making them a major player in New York's underworld. The Lucchese family was one of the most financially successful mafia families in New York City. It was known for its involvement in gambling, loan sharking, and other traditional rackets. Tommy Lucchese took over the family in 1957 and led it to even greater prominence. He was a shrewd businessman who was able to expand the family's criminal activities into new areas. But as the saying goes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Picture this, 5 families, once the kings of the concrete jungle, now falling like dominoes, each one succumbing to their own demons. The fall was as swift as their rise, and it was a spectacle to behold. The Bonanno family, first on the chopping block, was torn apart by greed and internal power struggles. The family's boss, Joseph Bonanno, tried to consolidate power, but his actions only fueled resentment and division. The family was embroiled in a bitter internal feud that became known as the Banana War. The strife within the family was the perfect opportunity for law enforcement to move in. With the family distracted by infighting, they were easy pickings for the feds. Then, the Gambino family, arguably the most powerful of the 5, was brought down by one of their own. The underboss, Sammy the Bull Gravano, betrayed his oath of omerta, the mafia code of silence, and became a government informant. His testimony led to the conviction of his boss, John Gotti, and many other high-ranking members. This betrayal shook the foundation of the family and sent shockwaves throughout the mafia world. The Genovese, Lucchese and Colombo families weren't spared either. They all faced similar fates, betrayal from within and relentless pressure from law enforcement. The RICO Act, a law designed to combat organized crime, was their ultimate undoing. It allowed the government to charge individuals for being part of a criminal organization. leading to multiple convictions and long prison sentences. In the end, each family, once a formidable force, was reduced to a shadow of its former self. Their downfall was marked by a series of arrests, convictions and defections. But more than anything, it was their own actions, their greed, and their thirst for power that led to their undoing. Once the unseen rulers of New York, the 5 families fell from grace, their empire crumbling beneath them. Today, the Mafia's grip on New York isn't what it used to be, but the echoes of their reign still linger.